Hello, and welcome to another episode of Freelancing Fight Club. I'm Jennifer Marsh.
And I'm Christine Ashton.
In today's episode, we're going to discuss how to use freelancing websites to find clients and compare a few of the more popular ones. We'll mainly focus on Upwork because that's the one that we use the most.
And it may seem a bit odd that we're doing an episode about freelancing websites because we spent the first 5 episodes basically slagging them off. I was listening to our last episode this morning and I realized I spent the entire time talking about how I use networking and try not to use freelancing websites. And then at the end, we pivot and go. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about how to use Upwork. Mixed messages going on in that episode, I think.
Since we're doing a podcast about freelancing, we are going to spend some more time talking about freelancing websites. And I think it's fine to try them out and use them as one of your marketing channels. That's how I've found most of my clients. I've probably earned a good 90% of my income from Upwork.
So I think, especially if you're new at freelancing and you've only ever applied for normal full-time jobs in the past, it can be difficult to start from zero and figure out how you're going to market your business. The advantage of using freelancing websites is that you'll have access to warm leads, meaning clients who are actively looking to hire. Clients post jobs and you can browse through them and send a proposal saying why you're the best person for the job. And that's going to be less scary than networking or cold contacting for most people.
A question that's very commonly asked is which is the best freelancing website? But there's no definitive answer to that. The best one is whichever one works for you.
It's going to depend on a lot of different factors like what services you provide, where you're located, how much you charge, how much experience you have. And we're not going to be able to give advice on every website because we haven't tried all of them. So we're just going to briefly go through the pros and cons of the websites that we do know about. I would encourage everyone to do their own research and see if there are websites that are more suited to your particular niche. I'd also like to stress that we're recording this episode in January 2026. So if you're listening at a later date, some of the prices and policies could have changed because they do change frequently. We're going to put links to all of these websites in the comments so that you can check them out yourself.
The websites that we're going to discuss today are Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, and Bark. But first, Upwork. I think that's the most popular, probably the one that gets the most press and most people land on eventually if they're searching for a freelancing website.
Yes, with 800,000 active clients, the big selling point of Upwork is that they have a lot of Fortune 500 companies like Disney, Airbnb, Google, Procter and Gamble. I personally worked for Microsoft, Nestle, and Johnson & Johnson, to name a few. And I would say that's been the main benefit of Upwork for me, because those are the kind of clients that I just don't think I would ever have gotten on my own.
I've worked for Upwork themselves and Microsoft.
And of course, Jennifer is in the US, which is an advantage because there's a US only marketplace that American based freelancers have access to, where you don't have to compete against people in India or Pakistan who are charging $3 an hour.
One of the cons is there are a gazillion freelancers, lots of them very cheap competition. You have to bring your A game and have something that stands out against them. More than 90% of freelancers who join don't get a single job, so the odds are stacked against you. And on top of that, they charge 10 to 15% commission depending on your category.
And in addition to them taking a commission whenever you get a job, you have to pay just to send a proposal to a job, and that can get pretty expensive. Another big con for me, and probably for new freelancers, because you're going to have questions and run into technical problems, their customer service is just abysmal. You can't directly call them or email them for support. They've just got an AI chatbot, and it's really frustrating to deal with. You have to ask over and over again for it to open a ticket for you. They used to have a community forum where you could ask for advice from more experienced freelancers, and then they got rid of that as well. So you really are on your own on Upwork. Another big perk about Upwork is that they offer payment protection. So if you're nervous about the possibility of clients running off with your money, especially if you do projects with fairly large budgets, I'd say this is the biggest perk that Upwork offers. And you've taken advantage of this quite a few times, haven't you?
Yes, Upwork has probably paid me, I would say it's hit 5 figures. It's not 10,000 yet, it's close to 10,000.
So if you work on an hourly basis and follow a very specific set of rules, Upwork will pay you out of their own pocket if the client fails to pay you. And like Jennifer said, she would be at $10,000 if it wasn't for that. What do we think about Fiverr?
Fiverr, so I love the concept of Fiverr. I just think, especially for writing, I've checked out Fiverr for writing. It is so saturated. I love the concept. I think you need to find something that is very unique and can be packaged in a way where there's not much input from the client.
We should probably mention how Fiverr works. This is one of the bigger freelancing websites. It's second only to Upwork, and they do have lots and lots of jobs. But instead of sending proposals, you have to fit what you're going to do into a neat little package. And then you just sit back and wait for clients to contact you. If you offer more bespoke services and you like to tweak things and customize things for every client, like I do, it would be a really hard website for me to use personally. I am on there, but I've never gotten a single project.
I think if there's a part of your process where you have to ask questions, it's not a good fit for Fiverr. It's probably better for Upwork. And I will also say, I don't believe any of your big clients with some big pockets are going to Fiverr for anything that could be important to their brand. I don't personally think they do.
Yeah, part of Upwork's advertising is that they compare themselves to Fiverr, and they have 145,000 clients who spend at least $5,000 a year, whereas the average Fiverr client spends $278 a year. The website is literally called Fiverr because it used to be the premise was that you could literally get jobs for $5, like a website for
Yes.
$5, a logo for $5. Having said that, there are some professionals on there who charge decent rates. They do have a Fiverr Pro program. It's not open to everyone, but if you can get into that, that might be worthwhile.
I tried to actually get into it myself because I thought I was like this very important writer and they just ghost you. They were like, "No, you haven't done anything on our platform. You're not getting into that." Yeah, I'd probably need to actually get some traction on Fiverr before I got into it. But I have heard the same as you that there's some people making some decent money on there. So they probably know something I don't. I don't like the 20% commission they deduct. That's pretty hefty.
Yeah, it's more than Upwork, but on the plus side, you don't have to pay to send proposals, so you're going to save some money on that. I think if a website is free to join and you can throw up a profile, you may as well.
If you can come up with something unique and there doesn't have to be a lot of back and forth with the client. If it's something you can package together and the client just clicks a button, you can do that thing without any input and then deliver a great product. I love the idea of Fiverr.
Yeah, it's true. I haven't put much thought or creativity into it. If you could come up with something that's different from what other people are offering and not just I'll do a logo or I'll do a website, if it's something really niche and something really original, you probably could get some luck. But I think most Fiverr clients are looking for the cheapest prices. And if you don't charge the cheapest prices, you don't really have much of a chance.
I agree, especially if you're in a competitive section. I would say Fiverr's probably harder to stand out.
Yeah, and I like the idea of Upwork better because it's me in the driver's seat. I browse the job listings and decide what I want to apply to. On Fiverr, you're sort of like a product sitting on a shelf waiting for someone to come along and choose you. There's nothing proactive about it, but that would be a plus for some people.
I think it's great for people that don't really wanna talk to clients. Somebody like me that doesn't like to get on camera, that's perfect for me, but, I also think you have a more potential to make better money on Upwork.
Yes. Next up, freelancer.com. So this is one I have tried and I got a job straight away. I don't know if that was just a fluke or not, and it was fine. They do have a lot of cheap jobs as well, but I would say the biggest thing I like about Freelancer is you can see what other people are saying in their bids. On Upwork, you just fire off a proposal and you don't know what other people are saying or what other people are charging. Freelancer, it's all out there. So I would say if you've never tried a freelancing website before, that would be the one I would recommend starting with, just because you'll get a better feel for it. You'll have a better idea of how many proposals projects are getting and what your competition is saying and how things work. They also have 24/7 live chat support, unlike Upwork. So that's going to be an advantage for you as a new freelancer as well. It's also a lot cheaper to bid on projects than it is on Upwork. They give you 6 free bids per month, and they've got other various plans that are also quite cheap.
I can't speak much to Freelancer. I feel like Freelancer.com has cheaper jobs, at least back when I was messing around with it, which is years and years ago.
Yeah, it's on the same lines as Fiverr is that there's a lot of very, very, very cheap jobs being posted and people in low cost of living countries who bid very low prices on those jobs. And every decent job gets more than 100 proposals. There's a little bit less competition on Upwork because it costs more money to bid. But again, I think for a new freelancer, if you want to get your feet wet, I would recommend it.
As a comparison, how many proposals on your perfect job do you see on Upwork versus a freelancer.com job?
Well, it's hard to say because Upwork only tells you when there's more than 50. Freelancer, you can see exactly how many people have proposed, and it's usually well over 100. So that can be a bit daunting and a bit discouraging for people. The other thing I don't like about them is they allow contests. So a client can say, can everyone do me a logo? And then they're going to pick the one they like best, and you could work for free and only one person gets paid. I really disapprove of that. And the other thing I don't like is you have to pay $100 to verify your profile, and you can't bid on the better jobs unless you do it. Before you've even gotten any clients or decided whether it's worth it for you, that's a big payment.
I didn't know it was $100 to verify your profile. Did you do that when you tried it out?
No way. I got the one job, and then they kept bugging me to verify my profile. And I went, yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I have a kind of a love hate relationship with the freelancing websites. If I don't have to use them, then I'm not going to.
Gotcha, gotcha. Interesting. Okay.
But the other one that I have tried that I thought was kind of good for me anyway was bark.com. It's not available in all countries. So this is just my experience using the UK version, and results may vary in different countries. But one of the big pros is it is country specific. So you're not competing with people all over the world, which makes the pricing realistic for your market. And it's also really, really easy to use. You don't need to read pages and pages of information to figure out how to do it like you do with all of the other websites we mentioned. They charge a lot of money, like $20, $30 per project. You pay for the lead and then you get the lead and then you get to keep all the money. There's no commission. So if you have a good strike rate and you're quite advanced in your career and you can land a lot of these jobs, I think it could be a good website.
I have only a single, experience with them. What I didn't like about them was that I went on and they said, "Oh, this $60 will get you about 8 bids." I was like, "Okay, 8 bids, that's cool." There was nothing in my section that was I had to spend my entire $60 to bid on one thing.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, there was no way I was getting 8 bids. I thought that was very misleading, and so I didn't have a really great experience, but you did.
I was hired on the 3rd proposal that I sent. I don't think I would have gotten hired on the 3rd proposal that I sent on any other website. So it was really quick. The other thing I liked, I was offered a free 1-hour coaching session with an actual person where they explain what to expect. So that was really nice. There's also no scams. It's if you're a professional person and you charge quite high money and you're good at marketing yourself, I think you could do really well there.
I could see where it worked. I think it depends on your market too. As far as marketing's concerned, I don't think Bark is very good, but that's just me. I noticed that a lot of tradesmen use it, and tradesmen have really great luck on it. So if you're local to somebody and you're looking for jobs like in carpentry or something, they do really well on Bark.
Yeah, I should mention that's another major advantage because the other websites are remote working. So if you're a hairdresser or a contractor of any kind and you need to actually physically go to someone to work with them, this is a much better website because people do look for local people.
You can narrow it down by zip code and how many miles outside of your zip code you're willing to go. It's perfect for local people.
But just the big initial cost is going to be really off-putting to a
Yes.
lot of people. Even if a client invites you to bid on a project, you have to pay to respond, which you don't on the other websites. The other thing is there's no payment protection. You need to figure out payments on your own. They don't payment process. They don't mediate. They don't help you at all if clients don't pay. So again, it's for more advanced freelancers who know what they're doing and who are quite confident about their business.
Interesting.
One tip I would give if you want to save a bit of money, this is what I did. Go through all the motions of joining, fill out all of your information, and then when you get to the part where you have to pay, stop there. And then you might get an email within a day or two offering you a discount. That's what happened to me. They offered me a discount, half price on the credits. So you could give that a try.
I should have asked you these questions before I started.
If you want to try out one or more of these websites, there are a few general tips that we can give you. First of all, you need to put a lot of thought and effort into your profile, your photo, and your portfolio. I would say spend a whole day on it. Look up the competition in your niche, see what they say. Obviously, don't copy them, but it'll give you a general idea of what a good profile looks like. Then, when you start the sign up process, really take your time, make sure you fill out everything correctly. You need to use your legal name as it appears on your official ID. This is especially important with Upwork because their customer service, as we said, is a chatbot. And if you make any mistakes, it's going to be really time consuming to rectify them later. So don't use your nickname. If you hate your first name, you can always tell clients that they should call you something else, but make sure you use your legal name for your
Yes.
profile.
The first thing that I cannot recommend strongly enough is that you need to read their terms of service agreement. It looks really long and boring, and you'll be tempted to just go, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, okay, and click accept. But, and I really can't stress this enough, if you only ever read the fine print on a website once in your life, make it this time. Upwork in particular has really been cracking down on terms of service violations and not taking "I was new" as an excuse. They have way more freelancers than they need. You might just be banned from the platform forever.
It only takes about 20 minutes, and it's very, very important that you follow their terms. Probably the most important things are do not email or give clients your contact information before you have a contract with them, and all payments must go through the platform. Either one of those things will get you banned permanently, and you only get one shot at Upwork. Once you lose your profile, it's gone. So don't mess up at the early stages.
They will also keep you from falling victim to scammers if you follow those rules.
Yeah, absolutely. The rules are put in place partially for your protections. Most scams start by taking you off the website, so just don't do that.
Yes. Next to your profile, you need a good professional looking headshot that clearly shows your face. Because again, this will be needed for identity verification. And I should note that you can't wear glasses.
Don't take it from far away. Don't use a picture of your kid or your dog. It has to be your face. Also, it's important that you look professional, that you look approachable. Some people just look like it's a mugshot, and it can be really off-putting for clients. In Jennifer's episode, we talked about how she's got pink hair and she's wearing Google glasses and how that makes her look really distinctive and stand out. So don't feel like you have to look too corporate. It can be really advantageous if you look distinctive, especially if you're in a creative niche.
It's been a marketing tool for me to have the Google glasses on, even though they're outdated. It looks nerdy, but it works for me.
Next, you're going to want to fill out your profile overview section, and that's where you talk about what you can do for clients, not about yourself. It should not look like a resume or a CV where you're applying for a job. It should be all focused on the benefits of hiring you.
Don't copy them. I've had people copy my profile. It's very annoying. I do report people for it, and you can get in trouble for plagiarizing somebody else's profile.
Oh, and we should probably really, really stress do not use AI, don't use ChatGPT. A lot of people are doing that. You're going to sound exactly like everybody else. And any good client is going to be able to tell. It's going to look lazy. It's going to make you look like you can't speak English very well. Just make sure that it sounds genuine and like yourself. You can use Grammarly to correct it, but do not rely on ChatGPT.
The client will eventually want to talk to you in chat, and if the language in your profile doesn't match what you're doing in chat, they'll think they're getting scammed.
Yeah. The other important thing, you have to put together a good portfolio, especially important for creative jobs, obviously, writers, designers, but also you can write case studies of things that you've worked on, what you did, who you did it for, what industry, what results you achieved, and just format that nicely and attach them as PDFs. That's going to give clients some idea of what you can do for them.
Fill out the education and work section, focusing on the benefits that you'll provide rather than a laundry list of your responsibilities.
It doesn't have to be every job you've ever done, but having some kind of work experience is going to be helpful. Even if it's not related to the service that you're trying to sell on Upwork, try to focus on the responsibilities that you had or the results that you achieved or the fact that you're really well organized or that you're a self starter. Things like that are going to benefit you in a profile.
If there's a testimonial section, ask previous work colleagues for good references.
Also, as a really good tip, consider posting a project as a client first before you start sending proposals. It doesn't have to be something big, but it will give you really valuable insights into what things look like from their side. When I started freelancing, I posted a project asking copywriters to take a look at one of my proposals and suggest improvements, and that only cost me $20 or $30. So I gained some useful advice, and I also found out what it was like to be a client. Another thing you can do really cheaply, you can hire a photo editor to touch up your profile picture for you, like remove the background or lighten it up a bit.
I've posted 2 or 3 jobs since I've been on Upwork, and I think it'll also give you a really great understanding of how difficult it is for clients to find good freelancers, and I think it'll help you have a little more empathy towards what they have to deal with and make yourself a better freelancer.
Yeah, and you'll see how some people stand out from others, and that will give you a good idea of what you should and shouldn't do.
And just to note, don't steal other people's proposals either. Just get an idea of what it's like to be a client, but don't take somebody else's proposals.
Absolutely.
But probably the most important advice on getting started is learning how to write an effective proposal. And we're going to talk about this in more detail in our next episode. So watch out for that.
Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and send us your comments.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.